22nd of May, we officially launched the citywide Intelligent Movement. That evening, a lot of school leaders, industry pioneers, and students, of course, and a lot of principals came together at HQ, headquarters of Preface, to have an exhibitions debate that sent a very clear message to Hong Kong. We will not be afraid of the challenges of AI, even if we are facing lots of uncertain questions because of the arrival of AI. Maybe these are some of the questions in honor. They still, despite the academic pressure, they spent the time and energy to prepare the whole competitions. Can everyone give them a big applause for this encouragement? And also, during the preparation, we have different mentors. We try to share a lot of sharing for them to understand what is AI literacy and also the usage of AI. We hope that you can be the leaders in the future to drive the AI development. And thank you all the mentors. And besides our mentors, today we are deeply honored to have a heavyweight panel of Adjudicators. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Noah Leung, Director and Principal Partner, and Learn Architects and Engineers Limited, and Mr. Paul Zhang, former Chief Risk Officer from BlackRock. Thank you all for being here. Wow, excited, right? Our first motion today, you can see that on the screen, is tackling a very pressure issue in education, right? The public education systems allow students to use generative AI tools. Let's welcome our debaters to the stage. Representing the affirmative side, please welcome Kuang English School. And, of course, in the other side, representing the opposite side, please welcome Belilios Public School. And just a quick reminder for everyone, as an audience, keep your mobile phone on silent. Our timekeeper over there will signal the speakers from the floor, and we kindly ask all the audience to remain quiet during the speeches and to save your warmest applause when each debater finishes. So let's invite our chairman of the debate, Josephine, to introduce the rules of the competition.
Thank you, Grace. Good morning, educators, teachers, participating students, and guests. Welcome to the Preface debate for tomorrow Hong Kong Inter-School Debate Tournament. I'm the chairperson today. Today, we'll be holding the secondary division semi-final round, and the motion for today is the House will allow students to use generative AI in public examination systems. So Grace has already introduced both teams and the two adjudicators. Once again, thank you for our adjudicators for taking time out of your busy schedule to judge today's debate. We're confident that your professional feedback will help the debaters from both sides to keep improving. So, before the debate officially begins, let me remind you the competition rules. The entire debate format proceeds in this order. First speaker, second speaker, third speaker, free debate, and finally, the reply speaker. So the speeches begin with the affirmative first speaker, followed by the opposition's first speaker, and so on. For the reply speeches, the opposition team will speak first, followed by the affirmative time. So, let me remind you about the speaking times. So the first speaker and the reply speaker each have 4 minutes. Second speaker and third speaker each have 3 minutes. And the free debate, each side has a cumulative of 3 minutes. So just a very friendly reminder. So before each speech, please signal me. After the bell rings, you may begin speaking. A single bell will sound 30 seconds before the end of your allocated time. And 2 bells will sound when your time is up. In addition, for the first speaker, second speaker, third speaker, and the reply speaker speeches, if you exceed the time limit by more than 15 seconds, the timekeeper will ring 3 bells. And the debater will be subject to a penalty deduction. So for the free debate, there is no 15-second grace period. That is, when the cumulative time is exhausted and the 2 bells ring, the debater must stop speaking immediately. At that point, I will announce the remaining time of the other side and then invite that team to continue speaking. Additionally, the competition also features a Best Debater award, which will be selected by the adjudicators after deliberation. If both teams have no questions, the debate will now begin. Alright, I declare today's debate officially started. So first, please welcome the Affirmative's first speaker. You have 4 minutes. So please test your microphone first and signal me when you're ready.
Hello. Good morning, Adjudicators, Chairperson, and fellow opponents. I'm Cass, the main speaker on the Affirmative team. Today's motion is, public examinations allow students to use generative AI tools. Our stance is, public examination systems should allow students to use generative AI tools. Before we commence our contention, let us clarify some key terms to make sure we are on the right track. Generative AI tools refer to computer-based systems that can create content such as text, image, and ideas from accumulated existing data. In the context of a public examination system, using generative AI means that students are allowed to employ technology in preparation and during examinations to assist them in producing original responses, explanations, and solutions. Imagine yourself as a student preparing for a public examination where the examination systems forbids the use of any generative AI tools. Without access to AI tools, the preparation becomes stressful, overwhelming, and draining. Now, picture the alternative. The system allows you to use AI tools. Suddenly, studying feels smoother, like gliding through ice, while with generative AI tools, pressure erased, and preparation feels less nerve-wracking. Research has shown that the opposite outcome when AI is not allowed. A study conducted by Morgan A. Vincent and Benjamin J. Lair, published in the article Using Exam Preparation and Reflection to Introduce Artificial Intelligence Tools in Honors General Chemistry, demonstrated that students who used AI tools such as ChatGPT, Google Gemini, and Microsoft Copilot during examination preparation is reported that they have got higher confidence and significantly reduced anxiety. Instead of suffering through late night meltdowns and endless memorization, students were able to review content more effectively and calmly. This evidence reinforces and brings me to our team's first argument. Examination systems should allow students to use generative AI tools because it makes preparation more convenient and effective. Students often juggle multiple subjects at once, with the biggest challenge being how to balance each subject while remaining quality and performance. Hours and even days are consumed by one subject, which leaves students with no choice but to give up on other subjects only because of time constraints. Instead of drowning in mountains of textbooks, notes, and worksheets, generative AI tools reduces this burden by condensing complex material into clear, concise summaries. Difficult concepts are rephrased into simple, accessible language, reducing while providing useful and easy to understand explanations. For instance, generative AI software like ChatGPT or Copilot is able to identify, interpret, and organize information from a photo to generate easy to understand explanations. This reduces workload by rephrasing difficult concepts into easy language. And students are able to tailor the style of their notes to fit into their studying methods. Therefore, public examination systems should allow students to use generative AI tools because they make preparation more convenient, reduce unnecessary stress, and enable a more effective learning. Research has already shown that students who who use AI gain confidence and experience less anxiety. For these reasons, today's motion must stand. Thank you.
The proposition's first speaker spoke for 4 minutes and 8 seconds. It has passed the time limit, so adjudicators, please deduct points accordingly. Sorry, the proposition's first speaker did not pass the time limit, and therefore no penalty should be given. Next, please welcome the opposition's first speaker, Jo Wing Tong. You have 4 minutes. So please test your microphone first.
Testing.
If you're ready.
Hello. I will talk about how the use of generative AI in public examination systems disrupts standardized testing. My second speaker will talk about AI spreading misinformation and no one taking on accountability issues. My third speaker will provide clashes, and my reply speaker will sum up the whole debate. But first, rebuttals. Firstly, we don't agree with our definition for public exams. Public exam does not mean the preparation for it. It means the process during the exam. Also, let me repeat the motion. This House would allow students to use generative AI tools in public exams. Proposition side said that the preparation will be hard without AI, but this is not included in the motion because using the use of generative AI tools is only meaning during an exam and not the use for it in the preparation. Now let me go back to my case. There are 2 purposes of public examinations. 1, make students learn knowledge, otherwise they will get found out and have consequences. And 2, providing a fair way of accessing who has more knowledge and skills. First, using generative AI disrupts standardized testing for 2 reasons. 1, standardized testing is a merit-based examination. When AI is interpreted, students become reliant on it, disrupting the purpose of public examinations of testing attainment. This means instead of students proving their knowledge, it's AI. And 2, it harms equity. According to Recon Analytics, paid tier AI models have an accuracy score 40% higher than non-paid ones. Does this imply that you support a world where students need to pay to get correct answers? This means that examinations become paid to win. Affluent students gain an advantage over those who cannot subscribe to it. Thus, exams become a test of wealth rather than skills, jeopardizing fairness. 3, public examinations, alongside the process of studying for it, equip students with the knowledge and skills like critical thinking needed for future life. When students rely on AI, the purpose of selecting competent students is hindered. Second, generative AI hinders knowledge retention and retrieval for 2 reasons. 1, AI tools hinder critical thinking. They directly give answers, cutting out the thinking process required for taking an exam, causing cognitive offloading. According to Edutopia, myelin in the brain speeds up electrical impulses as they travel between brain cells. When we go through challenging tasks like exams, it stimulates the production of this, contributing to memory formation and recall, which disappears when relying on AI. Hence, without productive struggle, the knowledge, even if gained, is not retained, hindering their learning. 2, they won't be able to perform well independently. According to Indigene, almost everything students learned is forgotten within 1 week because it was never retained. When students can't recall what they learned with AI, they can't perform well in an exam. This directly defeats the purpose of teaching students to retain and retrieve information. This is bad for 2 reasons. Firstly, schools cannot identify worthy students. Exams are a way to show universities that students are capable of studying higher education. When AI is introduced to exams, universities are testing the AI's accuracy and not the students. 2, it affects equity. Instead of proving attainment and hard work, it is now a test to see who is able to invest more into AI, jeopardizing the futures of students with a lower financial ability. And my second speaker will elaborate further of this in his speech. Use of generative AI, meaning of exams die. Therefore, this motion must and will follow. Thank you.
The opposition's first speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 38 seconds. It was within the time limit, and therefore there will be no penalty. Next, please welcome the affirmative second speaker, Chung Avery Summer. Let me know when you're ready.
Testing. Good morning, Adjudicators, Chairperson, ladies and gentlemen. I am Avery, the first deputy speaker of the Affirmative team. Before I continue with our team's second argument, let me first respond to the negative team. As our dear opponents have mentioned, AI is an unreliable source and makes students lazy. However, we as the Affirmative team disagree. Ultimately, it does not make students lazy. It makes students have to evaluate AI outputs and decide what to use, what is wrong and what is right. Choosing is harder than reciting and memorizing critical thinking skills. After responding to our opponents, let me now extend our case by focusing on how public examination systems should allow students to use generative AI tools because it equips them with the digital literacy skills necessary for success in the 21st century. First, let me be clear. We are not saying that students should rely on generative AI. Instead, we argue that regulations and guidelines should be set in place to ensure responsible use. Just as calculators were once introduced into mathematic exams with rules, generative AI can be integrated with boundaries that encourage learning rather than dependency. Now, consider what happens if we don't allow students to use AI in examinations. We risk creating a generation of learners who are unprepared for the realities of modern assessment and the modern world. With the advancement of AI, integrating it into our education is no longer futuristic. It is already embedded in workplaces, universities, and everyday life. Denying students the opportunity to use AI in exams means denying them the chance to practice and develop digital literacy skills that are essential for their future success. Artificial intelligence, just as its name suggests, is artificial, which means it is made not to replace human effort, but to support it. In examinations, this support can take the form of condensing complex materials, clarifying difficult concepts, and helping students organize their responses more efficiently. The way AI is used is entirely up to us. The way AI, with restrictions and rules set in place, generative AI tools can be utilized responsibly to encourage critical thinking, reduce exam stress, and prepare the next generation to meet the demands of higher education and professional life. In fact, scholars have already emphasized the importance of regulation. An article on purpose limitation for AI models, published in 2024 by the Journal of AI Law and Regulation, highlights that unregulated use can lead to risks such as misinformation or discrimination. But when AI is introduced in controlled environments like education and examinations, it becomes a powerful tool for learning rather than harm. Allowing students to use AI under clear rules ensures they gain digital literacy while avoiding misuse, preparing them to handle technology responsibly in society. For these reasons, today's motion must stand. Thank you.
The proposition's second speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 11 seconds. It was within the time limit and therefore no penalty should be given. Next, please welcome the opposition's second speaker, Lam Ji Jenny. You have 3 minutes and please signal me when you're ready.
Testing. My speech will begin in 3, 2, 1. Use of Gen AI, meanings of exam.
Sorry, we haven't ring the bell, so you cannot start.
Oh, okay. Use of Gen AI, meanings of exam style. I will explain how letting students use generative AI in public exams will result in unfairness and harm outcomes. But first, I would like to call out the proposition team for saying that we argued that we mentioned how it is lazy to do so, when in fact we didn't argue that. Now, on to some rebuttals. The proposition team says that calculators are allowed in exams, so why shouldn't AI be allowed in exams? Firstly, this is not true, because calculation cannot be wrong, yet AI is flawed.
as I will mention more in my speech later on. When you over-rely on AI, this risky tool, and followed as you don't know the knowledge yourself, you are the problematic one. Now, on to my speech. Firstly, introducing generative AI into public exams harms students' futures due to its unreliability. First, generative AI produces unreliable information. AI regurgitates answers from unverified online sources that may lack accuracy. This means, as proven by a Stanford study, 9 in 10 answers are wrong. Moreover, as our first speaker has mentioned, critical thinking is severely hindered by AI. Hence, students won't question or fact-check what AI said, meaning they will perform poorly in exams, even with the help of AI due to inaccurate generated answers. Secondly, identical prompts produce inconsistent responses. A Cambridge University study found that the same AI models delivers different answers 72% of the time, even when given the exact same prompt. This means that students need to gamble for accurate answers and get good grades instead of ensuring one through hard work. Third, it cannot reliably guarantee students a good future. Public examinations determine who is eligible for higher education. When the use of AI is allowed, we answer questions with inaccurate AI answers, leading them to perform poorly. Despite these harms, no party will willingly take accountability for these discrepancies, as it is hard to distinguish who is responsible for these mistakes. Secondly, allowing generative AI in public exams includes unfairness and breaks academic integrity in 3 ways. First, when AI is used, exam turns from metric-based to status-based. Wealthy students who can afford subscriptions receive more accurate answers, as proven by our first speaker. This creates an uneven advantage where confidence on the students are financial background instead of skill. Secondly, it diminishes academic integrity. Turnitin found that almost all institutions worldwide consider the use of AI to be plagiarism due to how it regrets information. When students directly use answers given by AI, they violate academic integrity and dishonesty, as the work is generally not done by them. In conclusion, allowing generative AI in public exams creates harm across fairness, reliability of grading, and academic integrity. Use of Gen AI, meanings of exams die. Therefore, this motion must and will fall. Thank you.
The speaker has spoke for 3 minutes and 8 seconds. And therefore it is within the time limit and therefore no penalty. Next, please welcome the Affirmative's first speaker. You have 3 minutes and signal me when you're ready.
Good morning, Adjudicators, Chairperson, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Marshall, the second deputy speaker of the Affirmative team. Before I continue with our team's first argument, let me first respond to the negative team. Aforementioned by our opponents, AI giving unfair advantage is a case of irresponsibility on us because AI is a tool to assist. And usually it's to assist a specific group of students who need it rather than the general public who just abuse it. To add on, students should learn to differentiate right from wrong. Also, there are just simply softwares that detect unfiltered or false information. For example, Cobot or Tortin. Besides, all finances aforementioned by our opponents will be handled by the Education Bureau to ensure equality amongst all students, giving everyone an equal opportunity to flourish in this environment. After responding to our opponents, I will continue to push forth our team's case that public examination system should allow students to use generative AI as well as it allows every student to equally battle in this highly competitive field in assessments by providing supports to special needs students. Consider children with dyslexia. They may study diligently, but when faced with dense exam texts under pressure, anxiety can block comprehension and expression. AI tools can directly support these students by transforming written material into accessible formats, such as converting complex passages into assisted languages, generating clear summaries, and producing audio readouts. Dyslexic students are just as capable as their peers, but without supportive tools, their potential is masked by barriers they cannot control. Allowing generative AI in examinations ensures that effort and understanding are rewarded fairly, rather than overshadowed by spelling mistakes or reading difficulties. Generative AI has the power to level playing fields within the education system, achieving learning equity for students with learning disabilities, such as spelling difficulties and language barriers. They often face the most challenges when completing writing tasks, yet the true purpose of exams is to assess ideas and understanding, not to penalize students for mechanical errors. Creative freedom should not be restricted simply because a student struggles with spelling or vocabulary. The content of the response remains vital, and AI can help ensure that those ideas are expressed clearly. This is just one example of how generative AI can be responsibly used by integrating it into examination systems. For these reasons, today's motion must stand. Thank you.
The affirmatives for third speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 8 seconds. It was within the time limit and no penalty should be given. Next, please welcome the opposition's third speaker, Wang. You have 3 minutes, and let me know when you're ready.
Use of Gen AI, meaning of exams die. I will analyze the clashes of the debate and summarize our case. First, some rebuttals. Proposition has mentioned that AI helps students with learning disabilities. However, this is not true. Students with special education needs already have access to an adjust exams just for them. These students often get modified assignments or receive external support like extra time, which let them express their own ideas without outsourcing everything to AI. So proposition claims doesn't stand. Moreover, proposition has mentioned about irresponsible, which lead to unfair. However, this is not the point. Unfair is led by differences between wealth. However, it is not irresponsible for you to go to a tutorial class. It's just the system is unfair. It's not you being irresponsible to use AI. Now, back to my speech. I've identified 2 clashes in today's debate. The first clash is on definition. Proposition has mentioned that what they're totally talking about is preparation before the examination. However, the definition for examination system, a public examination system, does not include the preparation time. As your preparation does not count any marks. The system is just consisting where you sit and have your exam and how your mark is calculated and for further assessing. The second clash is on the unfairness. First, this is not true that AI could be fair for those who need help, as generative AI is a really heterogeneous tool that requires a lot of rigorous training. Compared to rich students who can hire professionals to train their AI, the underprivileged are facing an extremely unfair situation due to lack of resources. Even if AI does not need training, the poor are still treated unfairly in proposition world, where AI is allowed at jury exam. Rich students can inherently pay to go specific courses that teach prompt generation, which the poor would miss out due to their socioeconomic background and financial constraints. Integrating generative AI into public exams would degrade the whole system from a merit-based system into economic background-based. This defeats the purpose of giving everyone an even playing field to prove their attainment. Moreover, this harms students' motivation to learn knowledge, as they don't need to memorize all this stuff, as AI could already do this for them. This causes cognitive offloading, which doesn't help with anything with them doing the exam or learning itself. Thank you.
The opposition's third speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 3 seconds. it was within the time limit and no penalty should be given. Now, comes to the free debate segment of the competition. Let me remind both teams again. Each side has accumulated it's a free debate session at the moment, yes. So reply speaker speaks after the free debate session. Okay, so let me remind both teams again. Each side has accumulated 3 minutes of speaking time, and the affirmative side will speak first. So before the affirmative's first speech, please send and signal me and wait for the bell before you begin. So after the first speech, whenever one side finishes, a debater from the other side will start speaking immediately, and the timekeeper will start counting their time at once. So throughout this segment, debaters must remain standing while speaking, and no debater may speak more than twice consecutively. Otherwise, I will issue a warning. Also, remember that there will be no 15-second grace period in the free debate. So when you hear the 2 bells, you must stop immediately. Alright, the free debate now begins. The affirmative's first debater, please start.
First of all, I want to talk about the second debaters from the opposite team. No matter when you use it's not gambling at all. It's basically it's not even gambling. You can't just use money and then just gamble for answers. It depends on which AI software you are using anyway.
Okay, opposition, that's not what we mentioned. We mentioned is that identical prompts produced by students can receive different answers. And that is proven by stats because 72% of the time, even when giving the same prompt, we receive different answers. So that's why we have to gamble for accurate answers instead of getting good grades through hard work.
The second speaker of the opposition has emphasized that it is unfair between the poor and the rich because the rich can pay for special courses that allow them to have more precise answers. However, I have already emphasized the importance of regulation and rules. Despite being poor or rich, you are not, with rules and regulations, you are not allowed to pay to win.
How does this mean that if you pay for tutorial classes, you're not paying for the answers, you're just paying for a better tool that is included in the examination system? For this tool, you pay for it, but you're not paying for the answers.
Well, you see, AI isn't a gamble at all. It's just basically the same thing, but rephrased. And besides, speaking of funds, eventually the education system will give us all an AI that's equal to everyone, and all of the funds will be covered by our education account. Because we're students, and well, it offers assistance to us since we're learning. And it's also about regulation and not overuse. So the students should be really able to differentiate between right and wrong themselves before asking the AI, or just in general using the AI to help them, rather than just overly relying on them, making the gamble not as much of a risk.
Let's talk about money first. Proposition has mentioned that we're not buying answers, but with more money, you can buy more tokens, and you can even subscribe to better models of AI, which your answer will be more accurate and more precise and better, which helps you to score marks. These create unfairness. And secondly, about regulations. How are you supposed to regulate that you should not type in, give me the answer of this question? Is this the regulations you are having? But then what's the meaning of the use of AI in public exams? You can't just regulate how many words they are supposed to use or how many questions they are asking.
Well, you can just tweak the prompt.
Please
Well, you can just tweak the prompt. And besides, pretty much every AI is the same anyway, considering this generation. For example, DeepSeek doesn't cost as much as ChatGPT, but it still pretty much offers the same assistance regardless of the price. So, and it's pretty much free.
Yes, exactly. You said it doesn't cost as much. That means it still costs us money. And when you said that government will give subsidies, everything the education bureau will give. This is, it doesn't matter. Let me give you an example. During the pandemic, the government will subsidize the purchase of iPads and also other mobile devices, but they will not subsidize the app memberships. This means that the additional money is still exclusive to the wealthy families, so this just proves my point in my speech of how it is unfair and makes it a test of wealth instead of skill.
Yes, you can pay for a subscription to an AI to have more accurate responses. However, that is to the free will of the public and for public AI tools. But for educational purposes, the Education Bureau will prioritize fairness rather than money. So, therefore, the Education Bureau will have regulations that highlight not having to pay to win. How are you paying to win if they are prioritizing fairness over money? There are strict rules against these type of AI laws, okay?
Even if you are using AI correctly, however, answers given by AI is not correct, my second speaker has already proved that information generated by AI is flawed as AI regurgitates from a large database which does not guarantee correct answers. So even if you fact check again when you're having an exam, the only way you can fact check is AI and the answer is still likely to be false. A study from Stanford shows that up to 70% of AI-generated responses contains errors, while 30% of AI answers are completely made up. How are the students supposed to gain marks or do the exams correct with proper situation or properly with these incorrect answers?
Again, after talking about money, AI either way is unreliable. And after my second speaker, Avery, has spoken about the fact that AI can...
The affirmative side time has up, and the opposition side has 27 seconds remaining. So after you hear the bell rings, you may start responding, and let me know when you're ready to speak.
The proposition has already agreed AI is unreliable, as their first speaker has told us. So why are you going to use this unreliable tool in your preparation, or not to say preparation, your exam? When you're having your exam, why are you using an unreliable tool? This doesn't help with any of your marks or your learning, and this totally defeats the purpose of you to have exams, which is for you to learn and for you to have.
The free debate is now over. Both teams now have 1 minute to prepare for the reply speeches. Preparation time is over. Please welcome the opposition's reply speaker, Zhong Ga-Yao. You have 4 minutes. Let me know when you're ready.
Use of Gen AI, meanings of exam style. Good morning, adjudicators and thought debaters. Today, as a reply speaker of the opposition team, I would like to summarize the debate and weigh the clashes. But first, some callouts. First, their second speaker didn't respond to our first speaker because we didn't talk about laziness at all. And also, you have failed to respond to the point of the unfairness of using AI between the rich and poor. Also, you didn't respond to generative AI disrupting standardized testing.
We would like to see some more interaction from your side. Now, our first speaker has identified two main clashes. One, AI is available to everyone, rich or poor, and also the reliability of generative AI. As my first and second speaker both mentioned, public exams exist to test students' independent reasoning. When AI writes a full analysis for them, what academic skills are we actually applying? I would like to see some examples. Now, let me talk about what their side has talked about. First, they have mentioned that Proposition 1 has mentioned that using a generative AI can reduce stress. But our first speaker has already talked about how the definition of public examinations is not preparing. We're not saying it can't be used to prepare. We're saying it can't be used during exams. Now, on to Proposition 3. Her point was that special needs students have some spelling or language barriers. And I would like to point out that they have years to learn the language. What can AI do to help? You have yet to give us some examples. What can we do with students who can't spell? Do we give them the spelling directly? Wouldn't that be unfair to the other students? That defeats the purpose of the exams. Let me state it again. There are two purposes of public examinations. Make students learn knowledge, otherwise they get found out and have consequences. 2, provide a fair way of assessing who has more knowledge or skills. Also, what about this? Yeah, that basically just defeats the purpose of exams. So, now, is AI growing our pie, or is it taking our pie? To grow our pie, we need to gain control of AI. Controlling AI needs knowledge. Therefore, you need to know it's wrong, and you wouldn't follow when AI is giving you inaccurate answers. But how can you do that when both your critical thinking skills and you start cognitive offloading, as my first speaker has mentioned? How can you really retain the knowledge? Now, to summarize my team's case, my first speaker has proved that the integration of generative AI in public examination systems disrupts standardized testing. My second speaker told you about how this will also result in unfairness and accountability issues. Yet, POP has failed to respond. We need more engagement from their side. Use of Gen AI, meaning of exams die. Thus, we take this debate. Thank you.
The opposition's reply speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 30 seconds. It was within the time limit and no penalty should be given. Finally, please welcome the affirmative's reply speaker, Chairperson. You have 4 minutes. Please take your microphone first and signal to me when you're ready. Testing.
Good morning, Adjudicators, Chairperson, ladies and gentlemen. I am Chloe, the final speaker of the Affirmative team, and I will be responsible for summarizing and synthesizing our case. Before I do that, let me first respond to the negative team. As our dear opponents have mentioned, our position regarding to this motion stands firm. Public examination systems should allow students to use generative AI tools. Our main speaker showed that generative AI makes exam preparation more convenient and effective, helping students save time, reduce stress, and focus on understanding rather than memorization. Our first deputy speaker proved that allowing AI in examinations builds digital literacy, teaching students to evaluate, fact-check, and use technology responsibly, skills vital for universities and workplaces. Our second deputy speaker emphasized that generative AI
ensures equity, supporting students with learning disabilities or language barriers, so exams measure knowledge and creativity, not spelling or reading difficulties. Taken together, our case is clear and strong. Yeah, it's not a shortcut, but it's oh my God. And for these reasons, today's motion will stand.
The oppositions, the propositions reply speakers votes for 4 minutes and 18 seconds. It has passed the time limit by 3 seconds, and therefore, educators, please deduct marks accordingly. So thank you, propositions reply speaker. Today's debate session has now concluded successfully. So on behalf of the organizing committee, I thank both teams again for their excellent performance. Now I'll hand the floor back to Grace.
Thank you. Let's give a round of applause to those schools, Kuang Middle School and Belilios Public School. I understand it's really uneasy for them because, to be honest, they are from Form 1 to Form 3 only. So during when we check with them, actually some of them are aware to use AI tools, and I can feel that they spent a lot of effort on research. You can see the data, ChatGPT, DeepSeek they mentioned. So thank you again. It's really amazing. So now maybe we give some moment for our adjudicators if you want to discuss a bit about the result. Yes, okay. And our helpers will get the score sheets and will work together with the debate chairman for the final result. So just a few minutes. What about I take this moment to let our adjudicator to share a few words to our students. What about Paul? Can you share some few words to our students?
Yeah, it's very exciting debate, and of course there's some hiccup. But overall, it's a very good learning experience, especially you're very young, and the debate definitely gives you a very good opportunities to train your brain, to listen to the opponents, and also to express your view. So don't cry, you definitely be fine. But I think our role as a judge is not to decide what we believe, but it's to decide which team better argue, and also to argue and also defend their side. And of course, let's wait. But I think my recommendation to both teams is sometimes when you do your argument, maybe you can use more concrete example or concrete case. For example, you say, okay, you put it AI tools in the exam, how to recommend, give more clear example or more clear proposal on how to protect the exam by using AI, but also in a way to preserve the exam integrity, for example. So I think it's a very, very good topic, and there's no clear black and white answer, but I'm sure that we all grow with AI, and AI is definitely will be part of our lives, especially in your generation. So I think that's my comments, and Laura.
Well, I agree totally with Paul. Well, we are not deciding on what we believe, but we are deciding on the performance of each debater. And the performance actually, I was amazed by the performance, the fluency of the speech, and the the demeanor and the pleasant demeanor that you show to everybody. And the way of the debate is held is a bit formal for the age Form 1 to Form 3. But in this kind of situation, you must keep calm, and only calmness can make you think logically. So I would congratulate everybody on the effort that you have put in the preparation, in your research, and in your speech, in your delivery, which is very, very amazing to all of us. And thank you to the teachers, and thank you to the organizer, and of course, thank you to the debaters. You did a great job.
Thank you for all the insightful sharing. I think it's a very good learning for all the students. No matter what is the result, now it's in my hand, but you learned a lot. We hope that you can carry on for the debate learning, and also the whole process, how you do the research about AI, what do you think about AI is all really useful for you to grow, and also grow for your future. All right, I'm nervous as well. So nervous is very normal, right? I'm handshaking. So let's invite our adjudicators on the stage, please, to present the first award. It's the best debater. So let's invite Paul and also Laura together. So the first award, wow, nervous and excited. The best debater for the English level, secondary level English matches. The best debater of today's matches goes to Alright, Belilios Public School, the first speaker, Jo Wing Tong. Congratulations. Let's take a picture. Congratulations to Jo Wing Tong. And our judges remain on the stage because today winner. Alright? So the winner team of today's match, Belilios Public School. So that means that they will go and enter to our second round. So let's have a group photo. And we will see all of you very soon in our semi-final. Let's give a big applause to everyone. And what about now we invite both teams with our judges and all the teachers. Let's come on the stage and we have a group photo together. Yes, we prepare some props. All right, so our camera, official camera, is over there. Smile. Thank you, thank you. Thank you to everyone. So thank you so much, and our competition of today is almost the end. Thanks again for all your effort. And last but not least, our second match will start very soon. So if you stay online, continue, and then we will start at 11. And if you want to see another match, welcome to stage.